your boy T-Bird Reaction. Today's Music Monday. Now, about to get into some direct production. What had happened was, so through my reaction of direct production videos, I have reacted to a lot of good production material. We went through the well-known production pieces as well too, such as the SP1200 and Street 100 and stuff like that. We went through the years we went through all the NPCs through the years. We went through some other well-known recognizable as well too. Some classical recognizable ones such as the Lindrum and the Lindrum DMX, as well as one of the original NPC sampler, the little sampler before NPC. And we went through the well-known dolls such as Ableton, Fruity Loops, Reasons, and Acid Pro. Now we're gonna take a trip through the keyboard side of production as well too. We already went through a couple of keyboard production materials such as the ASMR as well as the Casio. Now we're gonna go through in order of when release of some more keyboard players, including the MPC keys, MP keys, and many others, as well as this one we want to check out first was one of the earlier releases of direct production. This is the Korg Microsampler. Now I don't know too much about this, but either way, keyboard samplers, are very unique as well too, and very useful for especially if you're a keyboardist. So without further ado, let's take a look at the Korg Microsampler. What had happened was, let's get it.
The Korg Microsampler. What had happened was the Korg Microsampler. The Microsampler came out around 2009, and it's been a minute since we've gotten a keyboard sampler. But that's what the Korg Microsampler was. It was a great keyboard sampler. It had awesome features, like as far as how to chop. Like, let's say if you had a sample playing, all you would have to do is hit the keyboard keys while the sample is playing, and the Microsampler would chop that portion on the keys for you. That was dope. Or you could hit the keys before you even play the sample, then play the sample, and the Microsampler would chop it and put it on the keys, arrange it for you on the keys.
Wow.
As far as a chopping device and a sampler, the Korg Microsampler is dope. You had a lot of ways to chop up your sample. It had a lot of cool features like real-time time stretch. I mean, when was the last time a company put out a machine with real-time time stretch? I mean, it's been a minute. I'm not sure. Maybe some of the new machines out now got it finally, but it's been some time. But yeah, on the Korg Microsampler, all you gotta do is if you have a sample or something, just put time stretch, click it, and boom, your sample is time stretched to the melody, just like that. One of the great things about the Korg Microsampler was that it was so easy to learn. Sometimes you might be skeptical when purchasing a new equipment because you might say, man, it's going to take me some time to learn this. It might take me 3 months or even a year to learn this new equipment.
Especially when it comes to like keyboards type of sampler, like if you used to like pads or pass or even DAW keyboards. Well, not exactly, because a lot of DAWs deal with piano style piano style such as Ableton in a way as well too, kind of like on the same format somewhat, but pad wise and all that, yeah, for sure. But other than that, let's keep going.
Microsampler, you can literally learn it in a day or half a day, basically because all the buttons are labeled on top of the keyboard. All the features are labeled on top of the keyboard. So if you wanted to put an effect, all you gotta do is look and say, oh, there's the effect button. Let me press it, boom, there's all your effects, choose one. If you want to change a bank, oh, there's a button that says change bank. Click it, change the bank. So everything was really intuitive. Another thing about the Microsampler was that it had the best editor librarian I've ever used, hands down.
Okay, that's interesting. A lot of stuff like that. I think even like Launchpad, stuff like that. many others. That's pretty cool, right? For them to have something like that.
No front. That editor librarian and the Microsampler is how all editor librarians should be. It is so simple. All you gotta do is, let's say if you chop up your sample on your DAW or something like that, or whatever software you're using, throw them on the Microsampler's editor librarian on your computer, click transfer, and it transfers it right to the keys on the Microsampler.
Yo, your son, that laptop though, my goodness. Compared to like laptop looking like, nah, that joint is an oldie right there, man.
Even has a sound engine where you can put the effects on while it's in the editor librarian, or fade in, fade out, filter, and do all kind of sound, almost like sound design stuff, and transfer it to the keyboard. Boom, it's on the keyboard via USB, no problem.
Oh, that's awesome.
And vice versa. If you're on the Microsampler and you just made a dope melody, or you just got your key settings the way you want it, transfer it right to the editor librarian. Boom, transfer it, no problem, saved. So I mean, that editor librarian is so simple. I don't know why more companies out right now can't make simple editor librarians that just work. Not everything was great. A lot of the skeptics didn't like that the Microsampler didn't have a Wampler in it. So, let's say if you're making your beat, this is how you would make your beat. You do your drums, and then now you're gonna say, okay, let me go to the bass feature, and now let me layer my bass over the drums. Let me go to the horn feature. I'm gonna play my horn over what I just did with the bass and the drums. The Microsampler was not like that. It didn't have built-in sounds like that, where you can go to bass, piano 1, piano 2, violin, and all that stuff. You know how keyboards would have their built-in sounds? The Microsampler doesn't have that. Basically, you know how like an MPC has 16 levels, where you sample something, put it on a pad, and then put it on 16 levels, and it's pitched up on all the pads? That's the same thing with the Microsampler. You sample something, you put it on the keys. Since it has 36 keys, it'll pitch it throughout the 36 keys like a keyboard, and you'll be able to play your stuff like that. Some people didn't like that. They wish it had a built-in Wampler, like built-in sounds. Don't get me wrong, you can save all your samples on the sound banks that it has. Another thing a lot of people didn't like about the Microsampler was that, it just had 36 keys. That was it. The key bed, you couldn't go lower. Sometimes, even though you have a limited key bed, you would have a button that lets you go lower on the keyboard or higher up on the keyboard. The Microsampler wasn't like that. Basically, the 36 keys you see in front of you is pretty much the limit of how many keys you can use on the Microsampler. And it didn't have like aftertouch, nothing special like that. It was just a simple keyboard kind of thing going on. You really have to think of the Korg Microsampler as a sampler. If you think of it as a sampler to make dope beats and arrange your music, you'll be okay. If you're trying to think of it as some real cool expressive keyboard, you're gonna be disappointed. Okay. So that was the thing with the Korg Microsampler, but it was a very dope sampler, Yeah, a lot of people called it a baby ASR-10, believe it or not.
ASR-10.
I think at the time it was around $750, $720. Right now, it's a rare thing to find on eBay. Like once in a while it pops up, and when it does, it's usually around $600 and stuff. But if you can find one and you understand that this is a sampler keyboard, yo, go ahead and buy it. You will not be disappointed. This is a real dope sampling keyboard, and it's great for making like lo-fi music, because the sound engine in the Microsampler is like this monotone lo-fi kind of thing going on. Okay. So if you like lo-fi music, you like that sound, you definitely won't be disappointed with the Microsampler. Yeah, so that's the Korg Microsampler. What had happened was
yeah. He's definitely one of his earlier, because like he had the crazy engine like he had on the newer ones. But yeah, this was an interesting one. I mean, then I feel like if I did catch this, I would like probably definitely be into it, pick up really quick though as well too. But see the way he described it as a seriously a sampler only keyboard, like not going anything to be go super skate and when it, then I understand. Well, other than that, if you like my reaction, like, share, subscribe my YouTube channel. It's your boy T-Bird signing off. One love.